6 weeks in the jungle, away from everything I knew. I came to Dos Mundos, a small healing center in Peru, not to escape life, but to meet it differently. Through ayahuasca, silence, plant diets, and solitude, I was given space to observe, release, and rewire. It wasn't easy, but it was meaningful. Here's a glimpse into what I experienced, physically, mentally, emotionally, in 4 parts. Part 1. Arrival at Dos Mundos. The center I stayed at is called Dos Mundos. It's a very small village with no more than 20 buildings. The complex is mostly self-sufficient in terms of water and food. There's a kitchen building, a Wi-Fi house where yoga classes were also held, and several small 1 to 3-story buildings used to house the patients. At the heart of the complex stands an open-air shelter where the ayahuasca sessions took place. This is a healing center dedicated to physical and emotional recovery through medicinal plants. Ayahuasca is the main purifying agent, while other plants are used during the diet phase. First, you purge with ayahuasca, then you go on a diet. Here, drinking the healing plants is accompanied by a strict dietary protocol in which one is underfed in order to enhance the digestion and absorption of the plant's nutrients. Different plants are prescribed for different diseases and conditions. Usually the healer, Maestro Pepe, suggests the plant for your next diet, but you can also come with specific intentions or requests. Since I didn't come specifically for the healing plants, I didn't focus much on their effects. Maybe next time I'll dive deeper. The ones I did take were aimed at supporting energy flow in the body and the health of joints and articulations. Part 2. The ayahuasca experienced 12 ayahuasca sessions in total. That's what brought me here in the first place. The process is more or less the same for everyone, whether it's your first time or a return visit. You begin with about 5 ayahuasca ceremonies over the course of 10 days, intended to clear the body of stuck energies and emotions. After that, you transition into the plant diets. People stay for varying lengths of time, from a few days, just to get a taste, to 6 to 8 weeks, which is the general recommendation to complete the 3 main diets. Some stay much longer, 9 months, a year, even a couple of years. The drinking process is quite straightforward. Maestro Pepe serves you a measured dose. You drink it, then wait around 45 to 60 minutes. After that, you begin drinking a lot of water until you vomit. Each person has a large bucket for this part. Sometimes the body purges in other ways as well. Once the purge is over, you're free to do as you like. Most people rest, but some do yoga or simply sit with themselves. Every experience is different. For me, the real question was always, what is the effect? It usually began about an hour after drinking, which is why it's better to purge early. Otherwise, it can become complicated. As the ayahuasca took effect, my mind began to settle. The atmosphere called for stillness and quiet. The effect at the doses I received was quite gentle. The mind would calm down and become more thoughtful, more contemplative. At this center, they don't mix ayahuasca with chacruna, so there aren't strong psychedelic visuals. There are some, but they require concentration and relaxation. And that isn't the focus here. If you're seeking a more intense experience, there are other places for that. Once the medicine entered me, the mind started to float, to wander, and it could go in any direction. For me, it was usually chronological. I'd begin by contemplating recent events, and with each session, I'd drift further back in time, exploring earlier and earlier chapters of my life. I'd pause on specific moments, especially those that were uncomfortable or traumatic. I felt proud of the way I was able to revisit them. There was a balance between light and shadow, and eventually, visions of the future would come too, mostly near the end of each session. The inner journey would last around 2 to 3 hours, after which things would settle, though the after effects stayed with me for the rest of the day. Those hours were often my most joyful. Within Dos Mundos, I truly appreciated the soft, introspective nature of the ayahuasca here. I really liked it. It felt like a hard drive defragmentation, reorganizing my past and present in a clearer, more cohesive way. Things made more sense. If there's one thing I wish had been different, it would be the setting. The open-air space is located near the kitchen, and distractions were frequent. People, animals, sounds. It was easy to be pulled out of the experience by the world around me. I'd love to go through the process again one day, but in a calmer, more protected space. I think the depth of the journey could go even further in that kind of environment. Part 3. 21 days of diet, 21 days on diet. Over 10 kilos lost. At first glance, the diet didn't seem so bad. It's what they call a mono diet, designed to require fewer digestive enzymes for assimilation. There was a choice, vegetarian or not. Both versions included cucumber in the morning and evening, a mush of potato and oats, and for lunch, banana with watered-down rice. The only difference? Vegetarians got quinoa, while the non-veg version had fish. I went with the veggie option. It seemed to offer more calories, and I wasn't eager to fight with fish bones. But after a few meals, dissatisfaction started creeping in, mostly with the quantity. There wasn't much protein, no oils, and worst of all, simply not enough food. Every day, I looked forward to my next meal, only for it to last 10 minutes, and then it was over. At times, I felt like crying when I finished eating, knowing there was nothing else coming for another 6 hours. Later, I came to understand. This scarcity was intentional. The idea is to keep the body slightly undernourished, encouraging you to draw nutrients from the plants, not the food. It took me about 10 days to adapt. The hardest part wasn't physical. It was letting go of the expectation that food should bring pleasure. Eventually, I started to look for joy elsewhere. And honestly, by the time I wrote this, on the last day of my diet, I'd grown to enjoy the meals. Boiled oats and potato actually tasted amazing. I even asked for the recipe. There is none, just water and the plant. My taste buds and my nervous system had recalibrated. I lost about 12 kilos in total. I couldn't really see myself in a mirror, but the scale said it, and I felt good. Maybe I'll try to keep it. Everyone loses weight on diet, some more, some less. But apparently most of it comes back within a month. That's exactly what happened for me. But were there benefits? Absolutely. I spent less energy eating and digesting. My mind became more focused, less distracted. This was also the time I completed my first kettlebell flow program. I'm so excited to bring it to life. My sleep improved slightly too. Part 4. 7 days without a phone. This happened around day 10 of my diet, which was my 22nd day total. I kept noticing how often I reached for my phone, especially when I was bored. Before a meal, after a meal, before bed, and in all the little gaps between. I already knew I had a screen addiction, like almost everyone nowadays, but in this isolated environment, it became even more obvious. At first, I tried to cope by getting YouTube Premium. There was no internet in my room or the dining area, only in the Wi-Fi house, so I would pre-download videos to binge later. I was resourcing in advance, obsessively, and very often. Eventually, I decided to experiment, go without a phone. I wasn't ready. I tried once and failed. The second time, I gave my phone to the center manager, right before an ayahuasca session. That was a good transition. The experience was harsh. No phone, no internet, no distractions. There was basically nothing to do, except write or stare into space, and that's what I did. I was as bored as I could possibly be. The first night was tough. I had a harder time going to bed after ayahuasca. The second day felt endless. There was so much time. The next meal was 3 hours away. What to do up until then? But I adapted quicker than I expected. It was actually easier than I thought. I was still bored, but I started spending more time with simple things. I laid down and contemplated. I took naps after yoga, after lunch. Then I had more energy, and my mood began to lift. I started working out, even though it was very challenging with such low energy. But it was deeply satisfying when I finished. I began writing more, planning classes, journaling. My days became more structured, and surprisingly, more productive. By the end, I didn't want my phone back. I was sleeping better, working better, and simply feeling calmer. My days became beautifully simple. Eat, work, do yoga, eat, read, sleep, work out, eat again, journal, sleep. Those were my ideal days. I had 3 of them. To conclude, I'm deeply grateful for the decision to put my phone aside. It gave me a new perspective. And I'll be looking for more spaces in life where I can recreate this experience.